Am I the a-hole for ignoring the signs when my aunt stayed with us? My mom always said our house felt full, but the truth is, it was full of everything except peace. Every morning, I woke up before everyone else just so I wouldn't have to hear them argue about things I never understood. Little things. Broken plates, unpaid bills, my name slipping in between their fights like an accident. I always wondered how a family could live under the same roof and still feel like strangers. I guess that's why I spent so much time in my room. It was the only place where silence didn't feel like punishment. But then everything got worse the day my aunt arrived unannounced. She walked in with her suitcase, eyes red, saying she just needed a place to stay for a few days. Nobody questioned it. Nobody dared to. She stayed in the room right next to mine, and every night I could hear her crying. Quiet crying at first, then louder, like she was breaking and trying so hard not to let anyone hear it. One night, she knocked on my door. She looked exhausted, not physically, but like her soul was tired. She said, "You remind me of myself at your age, and that scares me." I didn't understand what she meant. Before I could ask, she went back to her room and closed the door. That night, the crying didn't stop. It didn't stop the next night either. And the night after that, my parents avoided asking what was wrong because they were too busy fighting about their own problems. I felt like I was watching someone slowly drown while everyone else pretended not to see it. The night everything changed started the same way as every other one. My aunt's light was on under the door. The house was silent in that strange, uncomfortable way where it feels like even the walls are holding their breath. Around 2 a.m., her crying stopped. At first, I thought maybe she finally fell asleep. But the silence felt wrong. Too sudden, too absolute. I don't know what pushed me to check on her. Maybe it was instinct. Maybe fear. Maybe the fact that I hadn't heard even a sigh in hours. I stood outside her door for a long time before knocking. No answer. I knocked again. Nothing. I told myself she was just tired, that I was overthinking. But my hand was already turning the doorknob. The room was dark, except for the streetlight coming through the window. Her suitcase was still open on the floor, clothes untouched, and she was sitting on the edge of the bed, staring at the wall like she'd been frozen in time. "Auntie?" I whispered. She didn't look at me. She didn't blink. She just said, "I'm so tired of trying." Those were the last words she ever said to me, before ending it all. By the time my parents rushed in, everything was already too late. Their screams filled the house, bouncing off every wall, every memory. It was the loudest I'd ever heard them, and the angriest I'd ever been at them, because it took something irreversible for them to finally notice someone else's pain. After that night, the house didn't feel full anymore, just heavy. Like every room was holding a piece of her absence. My parents' arguments stopped, but only because grief replaced the things they used to fight about. They apologized to me more times than I could count, saying they should have seen the signs, should have asked, should have cared sooner. But apologies don't fill empty rooms, and they don't bring back people who needed saving long before they ever knocked on your door.